In this video, we'll be using our email widgets to build an email inviting people to attend a big event that we've got coming up. So to get things started, I'm going to create a brand new email and I'm going to pick our base template 2. Let's call it February 2019 event invitation. We've got a range of things that we need to advise people about this event. And to get things started, what I think we'll do is we'll use the event main widget. This allows me to use a big hero image and then add some details like pricing, who's speaking, and a link to the event. So I'm going to drag that into my message. Now I've set up some images already. So I'm going to jump into my media library and I'm going to choose my audience picture to get things started. For the title of the event, I'm going to copy and paste some information from a document that I've got handy. The dates for the event? Well, this event is happening on the 8th of February next year. We've got two different pricing. So we've got member pricing and non-member pricing. Members, they're going to be $349 and non-members $449. We need a description for our event. So again, I'm just going to copy and paste that. We need a link to allow people to actually register. So we'll pop that in there. And then we finally need to provide some information for the button. When I apply that, you can see that it then adds in the image, the title, the date and times, the pricing, the description, and the more information button as we need. Now we'd like to highlight the speaker for the event. So to do that, I'm going to use an image and text left-right widget. That's this one here. So we'll drag that into our message. This gives me the ability to choose whether I want an image to appear on the left or right-hand side of some text. So let's first select our image. Here's a picture of our professor, so we'll select that. We've got a short biography for the professor, so we'll add that in. And we're happy with the image on the left in this case, so I'll choose apply. You can see that it's added the content in, but we could probably do with a little bit of spacing between these two. In fact, we need a heading in here as well so that we know the name of the professor and that they're the keynote speaker. So let's add in a subheading. I'm going to add it just above the widget that I put in previously. Professor Zara is our keynote speaker. We'll apply that, and you can see that we get a heading added. Now we definitely need some spacing. You can see that we have a series of utility widgets, and one of those is the spacer widget. So I'm just going to drag that across, and as expected, we get a little bit of a gap here. Now we've got 3 sponsors for our event, so we better add some sponsors and some logos in too. I'm going to use the image 3 column widget for that. We'll drop that underneath our speaker information. Again, I'm going to copy and paste some information here. So our first speaker is Don Techie. Let's go and find their logo. Here it is. We'll add that in. And of course we need their website. Let's add in the other 2. And our third and final. And we'll apply those changes. And you can see we now get our sponsors listed. Looks like we need another subheading though, just to put a gap between information about the speaker and the sponsors. So we'll put in proudly sponsored by. We might want to put a little bit of a separator between these two sections as well. So in the utility section, I'm going to add a separator, and this allows me to add a small thin line between the two. Great, that's looking a little bit better. Now we do have some fine print for our event. So we have a utility that we can use called fine print. We'll drag this in. I'm going to drop it just under my event information. In this case, the fine print relates to some copyright notices, so we'll add that in as well. Great, we're looking a bit better. Now, we do need to add some branding for our message, maybe a logo at the top, and we also need to put in some unsubscribe information at the bottom of the message. So at the top of the message, I'm going to use the text to column widget. This gives me basically two areas side by side at the top of the message. But I'm going to break it up in the layout and choose the 70-30 split. So the first column gets 70% of the space available and the second column gets 30% of it available. In the first column, I need to include our company logo. So we'll add that in. And in the second column, what we're going to do is we're going to include the "Are you having trouble viewing this?" which will create a link that allows the user to see a web-based version of this message. Now to do this, we use the Kentico macros. So the macro that we're looking for is under the email view in browser URL. Now just putting that in is not actually going to create the link, it's actually just going to store the URL there. So I'm going to highlight that, cut that out, and then I'm going to actually add a link. We'll create a web link and we'll use that macro as the URL we want to send people to. Let's apply all of those changes. Great. So there's our logo and we get our having trouble viewing link. We maybe need another space in there just to give it a little bit of a gap. The final thing we want to do is we want to put some unsubscribe information at the bottom of the message. Well, let's put a spacer in underneath our sponsors. Great. We'll add another separator. Perfect. And let's now add our fine print. Now I happen to have a lot of the fine print pre-typed, so I'm going to copy and paste that in. And it just so happens that I have those macros on my clipboard as well. So we've got an opt-out link. Here's our opt-out. And we've got an unsubscribe link. Let's apply all of those changes. Great. And I think we're done.